What you know about docking? Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Let's get into this. So, Spider-Man! Yo, it's Spider-Man! We can Spider-Man! Fucking Spider-Man, bitches! Spider-Man! Yo, good movie. Anyway, this is gonna be the first couple of minutes. Is gonna be just like my last couple of videos that I've been doing. I'm gonna spoil it in the last half, but I'll start off by letting everybody know whether or not they should go see the movie. I think yes, thumbs up. Get out there, go see it. It's great. Cool things that are good about this movie. Tom Holland is a wonderful Peter Parker, and an even better Spider-Man. Can't say enough about his performance. I think he was absolutely great in this movie. Did a good job. Michael Keaton is the consummate professional. Always shows up to work and always puts in a great performance no matter what he's doing. And this movie is no difference. He was definitely great as Toombs. They put him in the freaking jacket with the fur around his neck. How do you not geek out over that kind of stuff? Marissa Tomei, man, she did a great Aunt May. I mean, she's not your traditional Aunt May, but, you know, she did a good job every scene that she was in. She's always a pleasure to watch. Always. Queens. Can't say enough about Queens, right? Queens was a freaking character in this movie, and Queens was very, very well represented. Very well represented. That's all I got to say about that. And then, you know, whatever. I think I'm just going to say screw it in this first 2 minutes here and say, you know what, it's a good movie. It's a good time. Score was good. I had a good time. A couple times I was taken out of the movie. There were jokes I thought were hit and miss, but we'll, you know, dive into the specifics on what really specifically bothered me about this movie. I did have some gripes, but at the same time, I think that everybody will enjoy themselves at this movie. I think the majority of viewers that go out and see this movie are really going to have a great time with this movie, and they're going to probably consider it the best Spider-Man movie ever made. And go with God. I will not tarnish you from any opinion you may have one way or the other regarding how you feel about this movie, because I think as far as everybody else is concerned, you are welcome to believe that, and I completely 100% understand and support you believing that this is probably the greatest Spider-Man movie ever made. I disagree, but I understand your point of view, and I respect it, and I can see why a lot of people would want this as their number one thing. But, you know, I did have problems with the movie, and I'm going to get into that as soon as I get done giving you guys a chance to bail out, because I don't, like, you know, as usual, when it comes to these movies, you know, it's really never an easy thing. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It's never an easy thing to critique a movie unless you spoil the shit out of it. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to drink my drink, and then I'm going to take a sip of my beer, and then those of you who do not want to be spoiled should leave, and I'll say it once more time so I can be so obvious about it that nobody's left around to actually be spoiled. But anyway, I recommend going to see the movie. I think you should see it this weekend. It's a good movie. Go see it. Cheers. Anyway, get us, baby. So anyway, that's it. Now, 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? Are you ready, rookie? You don't look ready, because I'm going to make my gripes in dread form. Okay? That's what I've decided to do today. Flash Thompson being a nerdy bully was an automatic fail. Parker finding his inner strength from Tony Stark's not so inspirational speech about him not deserving the suit and whatever was an automatic fail. I could go into the whole Ben Parker thing if I wanted to, but I'm not going to, because obviously whatever. But you know, it's a little annoying that he wasn't even at least mentioned or had something going on there. Anyway, that MJ not being a ginger was an automatic fail, and you know, as the Coalition for Prideful Gingers in America, I'm offended my damn self, alright? I get a little ginger in my fucking beard when I start to grow it, so yeah, damn it, I qualify. Plus I'm Irish, so there it is. No mention to or display of Spidey sense throughout the entire movie is an automatic fail. Can't even keep a straight face during this whole thing. But anyway... The trailer is giving away way too much of the freaking things that happened in the freaking movie. Was an automatic fail. I mean, come on. And even some of the things that weren't in the movie. All right, let's get into that. All right. Tony Stark is flying through, looks like a Queens neighborhood, while Peter Parker is on his freaking, on his whip, swinging away. Wow, that looks epic. What the hell are those guys going to do? Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to fucking find out in this movie. All right? Keep on looking. It might be in the sequel if somehow Tony Stark survives Infinity War, but whatever. So the reason I'm so upset about the whole Spidey sense thing, though, is that Spidey sense is my fucking favorite. It's my favorite of all of his abilities, and I understand that there have been comic runs that have him not having Spidey sense. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what my favorite fucking. It's like his Jedi gift, for Christ's sakes. I fucking love that gift. So my hope is that, for the future and everything like that, that maybe it's because he's so young that he doesn't even know that he has it yet, and he hasn't learned to hone and develop it. That would be absolutely acceptable. So as far as at some point in time the Spider-Man actually does develop his Spidey sense, I'm okay with that. But other than that, listen, the reason that this is kind of personal for me on a personal level, I think the reason that I didn't really, it wasn't so much I didn't care for it, I liked the movie, okay? But I gave it kind of a low grade because it wasn't so much that I wasn't ready, but Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, careful, just hear me out. They were so bad that they ruined this fucking movie for me almost a little bit, just because it was so close in proximity. Was it too soon for this to happen? Not just for the fact that, a Spider-Man fatigue, because I'm fairly certain that you could release a Spider-Man movie every year, have it non-canon, and have it a different fucking actor, and people would still run out to see it because it's fucking Spider-Man. But they didn't get to do an origin story. I wish that TASM and The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 had never been made, so that they could actually make a true origin story with this fucking brilliant kid as the one that fucking makes that shit up, and I'm a sucker for origin stories. I love origin stories. And there was at one point I just almost said to myself, it was like, they couldn't make an origin story because Marvel got the rights to put him in Civil War, so they kind of had to pick up when they had to make this movie. They had to make this movie. They were almost shoehorned into making it. And instead of making the movie maybe they would have wanted to have made, if you can go back and erase the existence of the fucking shit Garfield fucking flicks. Although I didn't hate the first Amazing Spider-Man, but so there were, like I said, there's just, in some ways it was like, it was almost too soon for this, but still, it was a really good time, and I had a great time in the film. But when the jokes they hit and they miss, to me, I thought the timing on the jokes was bad. I thought that the comedic sidekick and the little shit friend of his, I didn't think he was that great. I think his line deliveries were okay. They weren't great. They weren't horrible. But for some reason, to me, even Tony Stark's lines were just like missing. And maybe it's my own mental state of mind when I went into the movie. So I don't know whether or not that's true or not either. I know that if you go into a movie with some sort of weird mentality, I might just have too much shit going on in my life right now to enjoy any movie. Although I enjoyed Wonder Woman, but I enjoyed this one too. Let me just backtrack that up. I give it a low 6.5 to 7 rating, but I did like this movie. I liked the movie. I had a good time, and I really firmly believe that upon second viewing, I'll probably like it even more. It'll probably push itself up to at least a 7. But I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't get completely sucked into it. But there were parts that were freaking really, really, really good. I really enjoyed when he was did the filming of his the the Civil War sequence in the beginning on his phone. I thought that was hilarious. Marissa Tomei's reaction to him at the end was fucking priceless. I thought that was hilarious. That was a great way to kind of go into the credits scene. I thought that was cool. Like I said, Michael Keaton was definitely menacing, but the scene in the cab, I thought, just was like, it didn't work as well as for me as the Norman Osborn at the dinner table with at the Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving scene with Norman Osborn, and that was like for me that was a little bit more tense than it felt in the cab. Although the cool thing was when they were taking photos right before the homecoming, that was definitely a very. It wasn't a funny scene, but it was just really very interesting. It was just very awkward, which was pretty much what they were going for. So, like I said, all in all, I did enjoy the film. I just, I had some things, minor gripes. That's all I got to say about that, fellas. Uh, I'm probably going to wind up going to see Valerian and the City of a Thousand, whatever the fuck it is, just because it's sci-fi and it's Luc Besson and I love The Fifth Element. So that might be my next review, which is, I believe, next weekend or something like that. Other than that, I ain't got much for you. Just wanted to let you know how I all felt and why I felt the way I felt. Like I said, all in all, listen, don't crucify me. I'm not saying this is a shit movie. This was a good fucking film. It really, really was. There was just things that bothered me about it, and I think I've covered that. So, peace and hair grease.